Have you ever felt like you were walking through life alone, even though you know God is with you? What if I told you that God doesn't want you to carry your burdens alone and that He has more for you through relationships and community? Hey, I'm Melissa, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm all about encouraging you with messages that I believe God's placed on my heart. Today, I want to talk to you about something that really hit me a few years ago when I was going through a really tough time. Something about isolation, community, and stepping out of my comfort zone, which is really hard for me to do. A few years ago, I was in a really low place. I was struggling with some really heavy thoughts, and I found myself dealing with them alone, just me and God. I knew He was there, but I realized something. I didn't have anyone I could really call. I didn't feel like I could be completely honest with anyone. And honestly, I had pulled away from people quite a bit. I was isolated, and that loneliness was really hard. And that's when God showed me something really important. That yes, He's always with me, but I also need people around me. People who can encourage me, listen to me, and literally just be there for me. At the time, I was a little bit more introverted. I had gotten used to doing everything by myself. But in that season, God made it clear that I needed to step out of my comfort zone. And looking back, I see how much I needed that lesson. So today, I want to share 3 big lessons that God taught me during that time. The first lesson I learned is that isolation is not part of God's design for us. That week, I saw how much I had withdrawn, not because people weren't there, but because I was just shutting myself off. God didn't create us to do life alone. Yes, He is with us, but He also designed us to live in community. We need people around us to encourage us, walk with us, hold us up when we're struggling. One verse that really hit me was Ecclesiastes 4:9-10, which says, 2 are better than 1 because they have good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. When I read that, I realized that isolation wasn't what God wanted for me. He wants us connected. The second lesson was that faith requires action. After that tough week, I knew I had to do something. God was calling me to take a step, even though I was uncomfortable doing it. I had to reach out. I joined groups, I reached out to friends, and I was intentional about building relationships again. It wasn't easy, but as I took those steps, God met me there, giving me the courage I needed. James 2:17 says, faith by itself, if not accompanied by action, is dead. And that's how I felt. It was time to take action and trust God with my next step, no matter how hard it seemed. And the third thing God showed me is that growth always involves change. The way I had been handling life by isolating myself wasn't working anymore. Change is never easy, but it's necessary for our growth. And here's the cool part. When we trust God through that change, He reveals more of Himself and more of who we are meant to be. Romans 8:28 came to mind for me during that time. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. I had to trust that even though the discomfort, God was doing something good in me. Here's what I want to leave you with today. God never designed us to walk through life alone. Yes, He's with you, but He also wants to surround you with people who can love, encourage, and support you. If you're feeling isolated, I encourage you to take one small step. Maybe it's reaching out to a friend, joining a group, or simply praying and asking God to bring people into your life. When you step out in faith, God will meet you there. Thank you so much for watching today. If this message resonated with you, please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more encouragement just like this. You're not alone. God's with you, and He has people He wants to place around you. See you next time.